I believe as a journalist, there's power that I've been given through the power of the pen, the power of the microphone. And I believe through this power, we can change policies, we can bring services, we can ensure that women, children, and all the people are getting their rights protected, and they even have access to justice.
The Women in Media project was implemented by the FNF East Africa Project Office, and it was aimed towards strengthening leadership skills in the sector. Running over 8 weeks, the project incorporated 10 women from 4 African countries, namely Kenya, Senegal, Tanzania, and Zimbabwe.
I want at least to have mentored around 50 journalists by next year, April. And I've decided to set this goal because of the training that I went through. And this is the training that's really opened my thoughts, my plan for the things that I want to do. I put targets for myself. And actually, I was able to ask myself, who am I? What do I want to be? Where do I want to be in the next 5 or 10 years? So I am able to set these targets because of the training that I did. And I really appreciate that I was part of the group that sat together with women from different countries.
Women in Media project was developed to give an opportunity to women who are in media in Africa, and specifically in East Africa, Southern Africa, and West Africa, for the countries of Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Kenya, and Senegal, to work together to develop their leadership skills, and especially to go through their journey, to see how they've developed since they decided or they opt to become journalists, to see what has been their opportunities, their strengths, their weaknesses, and to develop from them to build their leadership skills.
There is a different assumption when a woman joins journalism and when a woman doing journalism. Previously, when I was starting journalism 16 years ago, the situation was not any easy because the barrier started even in my home, and my relatives were saying, are you going to be a journalist? It's a risky work here, and it is not paying work. So, but I decided because of those who were encouraging me to do journalism. But the situation and working environment was not an easy one because of what our traditional and the culture is in our society. So sometimes you are going to the different people you wanted to interview them. They are saying, no, you can't interview us because you are a woman. Because I remember one day I went to a Maasai, and they refused to be interviewed by me, and they asked me to interview the woman. And I was asking a story. I was needed to balance the story that I already interview women and the others members of that community. So you can see the situation. Sometimes it's hard because of the tradition and the belief that we have in Africa. But at least slowly things are started changing, because of the knowledge and what we are continuing to write about in educating and capacity building to our community, to know that women can do any work and can make any changes that the society or the community wants.
Here we've been hosting people, and I've had my bosses introduce me to the people. So the introduction really is, I'm the best investigative female journalist at the moment in Zimbabwe, and it's usually as we speak. So that kind of have boosted my confidence. And when I introduce myself, I also talk about my passion, as in my passion in journalism and what I'm focused on, which is human rights and investigative journalism. So, and just adding that I would really like to make an impact. So introducing myself is not only about me and my name, but also the work that I do and what I want to do. My focus, I think, is on really self-development, developing myself, getting my master's and getting things done. I'm still learning to really manage my time so that I can do better. I can spend more time focused on what I want to achieve.
It's very important for each individual to understand themselves, because when they understand where they're coming from, who they are, it's easier for them to write their stories from a position of confidence, from a position of knowledge, from a grounding, from a stronger grounding than when they were writing before. So I do feel that if these particular female journalists continue from where we left off.
So this program, for me, it was quite an eye-opener, because I've been able to also network not only in Kenya, but also across the region. Now I have colleagues that I can engage, I can work with.
So people introduced me as a politician, and that's because some years back I ran for the presidency of the country, and people have never forgotten that. Well, sometimes I jokingly say people have never forgiven me for that. I would be interested to be introduced as a change maker who uses different mediums, and one is a medium of media, the other is a medium of politics and community building, the other is a medium of entrepreneurship.
I think one of the primary tenets of leadership for both men and women, and specifically for women, is to be able to know yourself and to understand yourself and to know your purpose in life. And once you're able to do this, it becomes much, much easier for you to be identified by others as a leader. Actually, normally it is not us who identify ourselves as leaders, it's others who see leadership skills with us and see leadership traits in us. But if we don't know who we are, if we don't know where we are coming from, and if we don't know where we are going, hardly anyone is going to notice us, and therefore the leadership of women will remain low.
Good evening and welcome to Diplomatic Circles, the show that discusses local matters with a global perspective. I'm your host, Martha Mamombe. With me in studio tonight is the World Health Organization Country Director, Dr. Alex Gasasira. Good evening, sir. Women don't often represent their countries at any level. I mean, when you look at the making up of executives in the media industry in Zimbabwe, that tells a very horrific story. And when you look at women that are presidents, ambassadors, ministers of foreign affairs in any country, it also clearly highlights the serious problem of gender disparity in leadership positions. And I think it's also more prominent where national issues are concerned. I know Zimbabwe is on a drive to re-engage the West since the Second Republic was ushered in, but I don't see a lot of women's voices in those talks. Men are left to do the talking for us, and yet we make up 52% of the population in Zimbabwe. So if we must have men speak for us, I think that's just unfair, because a man would never have a woman speak for him.
You know, yes, the circumstances are different. Yes, the challenges are different. But where is the African voice? Why is it we are not making the mark also in terms of being recognized? What are the global dynamics that are making it difficult for us to really rise through the ranks?
Media ownership is one of the key factors affecting Africa's narrative. Here are the benefits of having more women-led media houses.
Media outlets run by women will be much more sensitive to the plight and difficulties of women. They will be more inclusive. They will also give a stronger power to women's voice.
We needed women who are already in media, who have been working in media, because their journey was very important. Because through this project, they needed to go back to their journey, to go back to understanding how they've been working, what are the kind of things that they're facing in their day-to-day work, how they've been relating to their fellows, journalists, being men or women, and how they've been developing themselves to reach to the level of the highest.
Once you have the media represented by women as well, what happens is the narrative begins to change, the feminist sensitivity begins to be introduced in the stories that are written, and we know that women come with a different level of sensitivity than men, and especially from a social and economic situation, because their experiences are normally very different. So when they bring in stories with this level of sensitivity, you start to change the way not just women, but the way society thinks. And by changing the way society thinks, you start to change the leadership of that society, and eventually we start to change our continent.
There is a lot of work to be done to get women journalists unite and speak with one voice for greater inclusion of women in the media landscape. And also in the decision-making spheres of media.